Thank you so much, Divakar Trijent, for giving me this opportunity. So this afternoon, we'll be talking about three things. I will address three things in this session. First of all, I'd like to share a research report prepared by NASSCOM and McKinsey on what the futures of services is going to look like. Next, I would talk about how digitization or digital transformation is impacting testing as a service offering. And then finally, I'd like to talk about how we can get skilled so that we are all geared up for the digital economy. You all can see my screen?
Yes, Priya.
Super, super. So this is the report which I'm going to make myself small. Yes, perfect. So this is the report which NASSCOM and McKinsey gave out in 2021. This is Future of Technology Services Winning in this Decade. This is something that all of us should be proud about. This is what is the IT industry doing for India. So we have about 4.5 million people working in the ITS service sector in India, and we contribute to 8% of country's GDP. And there are over 12,500 tech startups. About 52% of the total services export revenue comes from IT for India. There are about 1,000 global delivery centers across the world, and we have over 80 countries where India is present with IT services. All of this is a big thing. So I think we all can congratulate ourselves that we are part of this tech services industry. But what is very interesting is this 4.5 million people who contribute to 8% of the country's GDP, if they are not going to get reskilled or upskilled to the technologies of the future, which could be AI, big data, cloud, IoT, or whatever, then actually they will become redundant. So the individuals itself will probably not become employable. So that's for themselves. Then obviously the enterprises are going to lose the revenue because they are not getting reskilled. And this ITS sector, which contributes to 8% of the GDP, 50% of them are not going to be reskilled in the technologies of the future. There's going to be a big impact for the entire country. So that's why NASSCOM, which is an industry body of ITS, is actually looking at how we could get the citizens of India reskilled and upskilled on the FutureSkills technology. So going from here, the opportunity is huge. The opportunity is almost a $1 trillion for digital economy. So that is the opportunity that we have in front of us. And this 1 trillion economic value actually attributes to about 65 million jobs in India by 2025. So that's a huge number. And the interesting bit is 40 to 45 million workers will need to be reskilled to be deployed in these jobs. So reskilling and upskilling is one of the important focus of the country today. So opportunity is big. Challenge, of course, is the skill gap. And the study showed that the freshers that are coming out of the engineering colleges, 80% of them are actually unemployable in the knowledge sector. So it's only 20% of the engineers who are coming out of college are actually getting jobs in the knowledge sector, which is really something to worry about. And the demand, which is like 8x now, is going to become 20x by 2024, the demand skill gap for the freshers. So huge challenge, but of course there is a solution. So the solution is how we can give a platform for India to skill, reskill, and upskill, with starting from just basic skills to actually in-depth skills so that the country is able to really meet the $1 trillion economy that we have set ourselves for. Another very interesting data from the same report is the share of the digital in the demand is about, in the entire demand is 35%, of which the supply is only 26%. So there's a 10% point gap. And by 2025, we are seeing a 30% gap in the availability of the digital supply and the demand that the digital supply will be there in our revenue. So what is the industry doing? And when we say digital skills, as I said, I'm just reiterating again, it's going to be big data, analytics, cloud, mobility, machine learning, security, and all that stuff. Interesting fact is 60% of the Indian IT firm is actually preferring to reskill because that's beneficial for everybody, individual, organization, and for the country. And how are they actually doing the reskilling? Some of them have their internal LXP platforms. They have in-house center of excellences. People have enterprises have virtual labs, and they have partnerships with MOOC. So there are multiple ways enterprises today are looking to reskill their existing employees so that they become digitally skilled workers. This is the motto of NASSCOM: think digital, think India. So the goal that we have is make India the digital hub, the global hub for digital talent. Anywhere in the world, if there is a need for digital talent, people should come to India as a destination. That is the goal that we have taken. And I think we can march towards that pretty effectively. So the goal is the revenue from Indian IT services should reach about 300 to 350 billion by 2025. And today we are about 190 billion, of which 70 to 72% are coming from the traditional services and 28 to 30% is coming from the digital services. And if you look at the breakup by 2025, it's going to be almost 60% of the revenue is expected to come from the digital services. And to make this happen, obviously, we need to be skilled in the digital technologies to make this happen. So this is a quick background on where India is, how we could get ourselves digitally skilled and meet the goal that is set for ourselves. So when Diwakar and Madhav were talking to me about this, I was just wondering, yes, future skills is important, but what is it? How is that I'm going to be talking to you all in a tester's language? What will be the change? What will be the role change for a tester in the digital world? So when I was thinking of it, three big ideas came to my mind because of digital transformation. One is the enterprise app modernization. So enterprise app modernization actually cuts across all technologies, be it AI, big data, IoT, cloud, blockchain, anything and everything gets encompassed. All of these digital technologies gets encompassed when you talk about enterprise modernization. And today we see like typical organizations have about 900 applications, and a single business process actually goes across 12 app systems, and the interaction is either through API or microservices. And testers have to test across multiple apps, multiple architecture, multiple interfaces. It is not an easy job. So I thought one angle let me present today is what will be the role of the testers in the enterprise app modernization. And to make that successful, obviously a lot of AI and ML would be used in the test automation, but with it comes a lot of challenge. You can't just build a model and just leave it. You got to train it, make sure that the training data is adhering to all the classifications that you have given, and it's not overfitted or underfitted, and then you use the validation technique to make sure that your model performs as projected. Finally, you will definitely use the AI ML for the enterprise app modernization, but it has to be reliable. And for reliability, maybe we could look at ML ops as an option to make sure that the ML models that are built are reliable and they give the agility to the enterprise to actually get ready for the digital transformation. So this is, this is how I wanted to stitch together the digital transformation journey for testing. The paper that is referred to here is actually from Google. Google Research have published this paper. It is a fantastic paper. I just read this paper a couple of days back, and I'm going to share a few points on that. But before we go there, let me talk about the enterprise app modernization. So what are the scenarios of enterprise app modernization? We definitely hear across the board on cloud migration. So the cloud migration is definitely one big opportunity. So there could be enterprises in the app, the business critical systems, which could be the ERP, the CRMs, the BI, the ITSM, all of these applications, which are the business critical applications, which could be running across various platforms. It could be on-prem, it could be private cloud, public cloud, hybrid cloud, whatever. So there is the set of critical applications running across various modes during the cloud migration, and the cloud migration needs to happen. You need to make sure that the existing enterprise stays fit and the services are running fine. So it's a huge task for the QA personnel to make sure that they're able to meet all of this, meet the cloud migration need, as well as ensure that the business is running fine. So there's a lot of responsibility there. The second thing that I can see in the digital transformation is typically when we have these omni-channel customer experience type of a scenario. So the business would come up with certain parameters saying that this channel, I want the metrics to be probably the retention metric to be some 5%. It could be a single statement given by the business, but then implementing that in the enterprise with so many touch points is not going to be easy, and make sure that it is tested properly is not going to be easy. And similarly, when we talk about in fact, when I was talking about this, when I was writing this, I was thinking earlier in 2000 when we were developing application, we would say, and it would be mostly intranet web application, we'd say it'll only run in IE browser 5.0. So we had a liberty to say that, but now we don't have. We need to make sure that the app that we build runs on multiple browsers, multiple mobile OS, multiple versions, and run perfectly. So for all of this, I think it's not going to be possible if we do not have a significant amount of automation. I did read something about like crowd test, which helps in creating script and managing it to run across multiple OSs as we want, and that's probably one of the big uses of AI. The other thing that I see is when we talk about integration, when we talk about enterprise modernization, we're also seeing a lot of automation happening at the L1, L2 level at the ops. So this would be possible to make sure that the ITSM systems are actually integrated back into the business application, so that automated action can be taken on the L1, L2. So these are some of the key points that are there in enterprise app modernization. None of this are easy. It is difficult, but it needs to be met. It needs to be really met to make sure that the business is staying competitive. And this is a huge nightmare for the QA team. So the points that we can look at from a QA perspective is whatever we talk about agile and DevOps, which probably we are doing today for a web application or a mobile application, should be planned even for the enterprise application landscape. Enabling business users with domain expertise to contribute towards testing. So this is where people have seen the usage of AI to help business users create the test case using simple English is one opportunity that people are seeing. Then, of course, using smart technologies to cover more business risk with less testing. Then how can automation address the gap? Then developing processes that verify functionality before, during, and after major upgrade or migration. So these are the ways that actually a tester, a QA unit can actually look at ensuring that they are able to handle the demand for the enterprise app modernization. Enterprise app modernization, as we saw, the evolution will happen because a business change happens or an app gets upgraded, a software gets upgraded, an IT system wants an upgrade. So there are multiple instances which will need a change. So there is a lot of importance that needs to be ensured that proper agile process are set in place so that the changes are addressed and a quality system is actually functional. The three main things that people actually look at is speed, cost, risk. So this is the parameter the enterprises actually evaluate to come up with a test strategy. We are saying automation is a silver bullet, but I'm sure you people in your everyday experience must have seen that it's probably more difficult to maintain the scripts and keep it relevant with the changes that are there happening in the enterprise. So probably with AI and ML, this could be addressed to some extent. So I did see that you had earlier presentation in the WWT on QA for AI ML. I'm not going to get into too many technical details, but I thought there were a few relevant points in terms of impact of digital transformation to enterprise. So I thought I'll address a few points. So the usage that people are using today, AI ML, and we all know that it's not as simple as just coming up with a model, throwing a test data there, and then you say, yeah, it's fine, I've created a model and I'm all set. But that's not enough, right? So you need to ensure that your training data is good enough, it's accurately classifying or regressing data with sufficient generalization and not overfitting or underfitting the data. So that's very, very critical. And we need to make sure that the algorithm, the QA actually tests the algorithm, the data, and the hyperparameter are tested, and then we get the required results. They work together to get the required results. And if they are not testing fine, you need to remodel and then probably create a new test data and make it happen. So it's not easy, but it does bring in a lot of benefit. So what we have seen is usage of automation, AI, ML, and test creation, the three scenarios that we see here. People are using neural network to think like a brain to identify and understand all the different objects that are there in that particular scenario. People are using computer vision and OCR for reading the screens, and they're using NLP for translators to translate plain English to text. So this is probably one of the things that we saw in the previous slide as how a business user can also define the test case. So these are the various ways a test case creation can benefit by using AI and ML. And as we see that we can build probably one script and use the automation intelligence to overcome the app changes. So you probably build a script for iOS and use the same script for Android testing too. And during the test maintenance phase, how AI and ML can benefit is automation actually is resistant to changes, and the single script could be used for multiple platforms. So test maintenance becomes far more easy. And the data that I see here is 59% of the enterprise deploy new software built daily and 26% deploy every hour. With this kind of agility, if we do not have some amount of automation, and if the automation is actually enriched with AI big data, then definitely we'll be able to address it. Otherwise, it would become very difficult. So using AI ML for test creation, test maintenance, and also using AI ML for machine learning decisions. So these are the different scenarios where AI and ML could be used. And of course, if we are looking at AI and ML, we need a large computing power, an engineering workforce, and data sets for AI engines. These are the three main points for key for success for AI and ML in test automation. So this is one perspective to it. So we see very well that AI and ML can be used significantly in the test automation process, be it the test creation process, test maintenance process, or decision-making process. Very, very important thing to keep in mind is whenever we develop something with AI or ML, is the ML model reliable? So is the ML model that we have created reliable? So there were very, very interesting points which I picked up from the Google white paper. So this is irrespective of a role like a QA when you're using ML model for automation. So that is one scenario. The other scenario is beat anything in a typical scenario where you have ML ops, where you have machine learning, DevOps, and data engineering. You have people from various backgrounds. Then how can you make sure that you could have an ML model which is reliable? So there were very, very nicely put points in the research paper, which you could definitely look at it at a later point. But what I wanted to call was they are looking at it at 4 points. You need to test the features and data. You need to test the model development. You need to conduct infrastructure tests, and you need to run monitoring tests. What normally what we hear typically is say, oh, ML, I don't know how it's going to behave because I don't know what data set has gone in, what hyperparameters have been set. I cannot control the behavior. We cannot afford to say that when we are having system critical applications running using ML models. So there needs to be the enterprise level debuggability, enterprise level replacement of code possible when we are running ML on the enterprise applications. So there are these few points which they say, which they have recommended how to do it in terms of you need to test the features and data, and for features they say use a schema. So typical example that they give is the schema helps a lot when you define the feature. If you say height of an individual, height of a human being, the schema can say it can't be more than 7 feet. A human is not going to be more than 7 feet, right? So things like that could be defined in the features so that the expected outcome of the model, is predictable. And things like, um, uh, there was a model which my daughter was working on, and this was for finding out finding out sand on the bottles, on the juice bottles that was there, and based on the amount of sand they were supposed to not reuse those bottles. The original model that was developed had about some 70 features, so which is fine. But then later on, when they started fine tuning the machine, they said they could achieve the whole thing, the same amount of confirmation with just 4 features, 4 layers. So it is important to make sure, is there so many layers really required? Features versus cost is an important point that you need to take care. And when you make these, the very, very important thing is we need to have appropriate privacy controls that are set in place. This could be like if there was a model that was working within the enterprise, and you make the model, you use the AI model for a cloud environment, you know, to make sure that appropriate security and privacy considerations are taken care of. Another important point here was how to test the model deployment itself. They're saying you need to have the proper version control for model. And then you need to ensure that you're able to audit the model and improve reproducibility. For example, tuning of hyperparameters like the learning rates, the number of layers, the layer size. We should be able to control all of this and then ensure that you're able to develop a model which is auditable. And what is the impact of staleness? How is the data slice that you're taking? So the slice of data that you're taking, is it a proper representative of the data sample that you're looking at? For example, if you look at Netflix and you want to come out with the movie genre that people from Indian region are looking at. So is that slice a proper representation for you to do the analysis? So they help you do, identify things in this way. And similarly, to conduct infrastructure test, do you do a canary test before serving? And can the serving models be rolled back? And of course, finally, the monitoring test, which will show the repetitive results show that the computing performance has not regressed. Prediction quality has not regressed. Therefore, the model is model is fine. So, with a reliable machine learning model in place, definitely AI and ML could be used in test automation, leading to enterprises embracing the digital technology and help them in their journey of enterprise modernization. So this is a quick thing on ML Ops, which I said it's the core. ML Ops is the core. It has machine learning, DevOps, and data engineering. So ML Ops is a team which unifies the data collection, pre-processing, model training, evaluation, deployment, retraining in a single process that teams can maintain. What is important is a single process that teams can maintain. There's excellent collaboration with DevOps, IT Ops, data engineer, data sciences. They're all looking at the same model and they know what is being put into the production and what is being maintained. So this is very, very critical role of ML Ops. It is still early stages. In fact, my cousin who's working for Amazon, he is still not he's still not fully implemented ML Ops. But I think this is the way to go if we need to have ML resilient models running in the enterprise. So you have ML Ops for this, then you have the DevOps, which does the CI/CD, and then finally the data engineering, which is actually managing the data pipelines, automating the process to reduce time and complete the data analysis. So these were the 3 points of view that I wanted to share with you all in terms of what is the impact of digital transformation to testing. So you might just say, oh, Priya is talking about testing, AI/ML is a solution. AI/ML is definitely a solution. You may be wondering, like, what if AI/ML is there? Will the testers no longer be needed? Of course, testers will be needed. Like how we talk about autonomous cars or driverless cars, there's still a driver. Though it is being driven, there's still a driver when they're doing the testing. And similarly, I'm sure we're going to have testers, but probably a different genre of testers to handle the needs of the enterprise app modernization type of a requirement. Testers who probably understand a little more of AI/ML would probably be making would probably be a bigger section of people testing in this area. So I think in the interest of time, let me just quickly, one thing that I wanted, since my background from 2013 has been with security, I thought, let me just quickly talk about one of the FutureSkills technology, which is definitely cybersecurity. And for testers, I'm sure for the app testers, I do not see it as a big challenge for you all to groom yourself to become security testers. And I would just say that it would probably be a matter of 6 months for an experienced tester to move into being a certified tester. So basically, I think you can start your journey by understanding what app security means. Then you probably spend time understanding application vulnerability. Then you learn how to harden your app and deployment. And then finally, you learn how to do the monitoring for vulnerability. Once you are ready with all of this, you could take up any certification that's possible. I've just listed a few. This is not limiting in any order. But I'm sure you would have heard from everybody that there is such a lot of skill gap for security. Every time there will be a skill gap for security. It's always the case that you have projects and you don't have people to execute. So that's the normal scenario. And this is the report that was published last year, 2020, where they say 3.1 million is a gap for security professionals according to this ISC squared. So definitely people can look at reskilling themselves in the security testing space, can reskill themselves looking at the AI, big data, IoT kind of a space. And they're saying like typically like going forward on a single person, there'll be at least 5 devices, which could be, of course, his phone, his wearables, his something called as digestibles. They put something inside which could, have a vision, a camera in it, and do, kind of take pictures on it. And then, of course, our handheld devices. So with so much of sensors that are giving input to us, and the need for integration, our typical style will not be sufficient. I think we'll have to move into automated style of testing. So just quickly coming back to the third point of my presentation. So Ministry of Electronics and IT and NASSCOM, FutureSkills Prime, have actually come up with a platform called Prime. And the mission of this platform is to actually reskill, upskill about 4 lakh people in 3 years. That is, by 2023, we are supposed to reskill. And this platform today is in beta. I'll just spend a few minutes on the platform. So there's a rich catalog of content on all the future skills technology that I was talking about: AI, big data, cyber, IoT, AR, VR, RPA, blockchain, etc. The learning experience is next generation learning experience. We have something called as a skills passport. There's chatbot available, AI enabled chatbot available. There's skills wallet, and people can actually take up diagnostics and badges and learning they'll get as they go by. And what's the outcome? So we actually, if people are using the platform, then we are well on plan to become Think India, Think Digital Nation. So I'm just quickly going to show you the FutureSkills Prime platform. So anybody, futureskillsprime.in, any Indian citizen can actually log into this platform and can access the material. You can go sign up. It'll ask you for the credentials. You can give in the credentials, sign up. You can also use your LinkedIn, Facebook since I'm already signed in, it's come into my page here. So you could sign up. So this platform is available for every citizen of India. And this has geofencing, so it's available only within the Indian geography. Currently, the product is in beta. It will soon be production very soon. The reason it is in beta is not because the features are limited. It is in beta because some of the government incentives are yet to be rolled out. So you can log on to this. As I said, you can. This is the chatbot that is there, which can help you through the platform. And there are these various technologies that I spoke about. So if we go, let's start with AI that we were talking. So for a tester who's probably new to AI, what they could do is they could start their journey with, there are something called as a smart cards. Smart cards are bite-sized information. So anybody who's just new to AI can just go consume this information. And once they do that, probably they can, just take up, there's something called as a pathways and journey, which is like AI primer. Like this primer you have across all the technologies. So a person need not even know anything about the technology. They can come start their journey from here, the entire journey into their reskilling space. So they could start with your primer, then this foundation course, which is there from our partners. These are the partners that you see here. And then there are courses on machine learning, and there are courses on data analytics. The courses will keep coming up. So the courses are based on job categories. So we have courses on analysis, engineering, and architect and things like that as we go by. So what you have is across all these technologies, you have courses, you have content which you can consume. The interesting bit is it's not just technology. There's also professional skills content available on the professional skills on the platform. This is like an e-commerce platform. So we have content from various content partners and OEM providers. So we have their content on the platform. When we say industry and government approved, these are courses which are based on the industry standards. We have Sector Skill Council for IT ITS. So they're based on industry standards, and these are the ones which will get you the government incentives once the incentives are being rolled out. So you do get a certificate once you finish the course, and you also can take up assessment. And you actually get if you clear the assessment, you get a certificate from NSDC, Skills India, NASSCOM Future Skills, and SSC. So that's what you get as part of this. And if you look at cybersecurity, in fact, we were talking about AppSec, and there is a course which is available on AppSec. It's free till 17th of August. So people can actually go enroll for this course. And when we say course, all these courses are a combination of theory and practical. So so when you actually finish this course, you could be well equipped to start off your career as an app security person. So this is a quick overview of the platform itself. You can all explore it. As I said, FutureSkills Prime. You can just go explore this platform and see what's relevant. If there's any need, you could of course use the chatbot, or you could also send in a mail if you need anything. So the prime differentiator of this platform is, of course, you would say there's Coursera, there's Udemy, there is edX, or whatever it is. The platform that this is different is, this is an India platform supported by Government of India platform. And what it gives, what does the platform give the learner? It will motivate the learner by giving badges when you do your digital fluency, which is just about 30 minutes. Okay, I didn't show you that. So there are badges that you can have on this platform, which you can proudly show off on your social media, like LinkedIn at this point in time. So people can earn certification and badges when they complete the industry aligned courses. And once the government incentive sets in, actually government is going to incentivize a learner up to 12,000 rupees if they complete assessment successfully on the platform. And for the learner, they get the opportunity of getting the best course. You get best in class courses and partners that you have here who are there as part of this journey to help meet the 4 lakh people in the coming 3 years. So as I said, there's something for everyone. You start with digital fluency, which is the primer that I spoke about, or the smart cards. So if you're completely new to the technology, you start with digital fluency. Then if you feel, yes, I think I'm interested in AI, then you can take up the foundational skills and that, which is the first level thing, which doesn't expect you to have any prior knowledge. So once you do the foundation level skilling, then you come in to take the job-oriented skilling, which could the job roles that the families that I showed, be it an analyst or an engineer or an architect. So this is how anybody from the platform can benefit, whether you're a novice or you're an expert. Probably you're an expert in one field, you can pick up expertise in the other field. And there's also, once we work with the enterprise, we are also having the expert actually contribute towards the content that they can make it public on the platform. So it's a continuous learning journey. Learning doesn't stop. You get your fluency badges, which is just 30 minutes. Then you take up foundation course, then you take up job role course. You get these certificates, and then finally you get the NASSCOM SSC and the Skills India certification once you take up the assessment successfully. So there is opportunity that the Government of India has provided. I think it's up to the people like us to make use of this and then get ourselves reskilled in the technologies that are relevant for the future. Thank you so much. Over to you, Diva.
Priya.
Yeah.
Sorry for the inconvenience caused from my end regarding some network issues. Yeah, so we can question for the question section now. Regarding, I mean, there was a talk which was around for the statistics where you were showing with respect to in future what would be the percentage. And so here, how do we arrive at the statistics for the particular skill needed in the future? Like, for example, you said the UX engineers you need by 2020 would be grow up by 44%. So based on what you will be coming to this statistics is the question from one of the attendees.
if I rephrase what you're saying, Shruti, you're saying on what basis were these numbers arrived at?
Yes, that's their question.
Okay, okay. So we have our partner called Zenov. So there was a very extensive study that was done on various skills that are available in the country, and what is the training that various colleges are giving. So both the demand and the supply side study was done. And as you would have seen in my first slide, there's about 4.3 million people today in the IT sector, of which 1.7 are in the future skills technologies. And about 170 to 180,000 people actually got reskilled last year. So this is from the sources that they have collected with interviews with various people from the industry, speaking out to the academia, and obviously looking at the job postings. They have arrived at the demand and the available talent. I hope this answers the question.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Priya. And there's one more question, like since you showcased us with respect to the future skill platforms where people can get different certifications and the course certificate and also, is there any minimum age to sign in and get the certification done?
Excellent question, and thank you so much. I missed answering it. The minimum age is 18 years, and there's no upper limit. So you just have to be 18 to use the platform.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that. Audience, in case if you have any other questions, please put it on the questionnaire section so that we can have Priya to be answered for that.
So Priya, thanks for that reference that you provided to all the other attendees. I just want to say that it's been made available as a part of the handout so that they could download the PDF file, by going to the handout section.
I thought it was an excellent paper for people in the MLOps space.
Yep, it's on my to read. Yeah.
So in the audience here, what percentage are using already AI/ML in their services?
Priya, as such, since it's a community event, we don't have, particularly distinguished audience, like, we don't pick up as such. So it's an open registration. So interested candidates with any kind of background, they can just come in and, they can attend the webinar.
I thought it would be a good data to have.
Okay. Okay, here comes the other one. It states that, like, madam, we have a huge challenge at the mid-level institutions in the rural and semi-rural areas to upgrade and adopt the technology and also create the necessary infrastructure. This experience is given after a year of pandemic. Many colleges, because of lockdown, found it convenient not to upgrade their technology within, but left it to students' community to own and use the device. What are the solutions we can propose to these colleges on an affordability and availability as well as accessibility basis?
Very, very relevant question, sir, whoever's asked it. So if you look at this particular platform, this is, as I said, it's a platform available to anybody, and anywhere you have internet access, you could use this platform. And today on the platform itself, we have various colleges who have actually signed up. So what they're doing is portions of their curriculum, they are saying you can actually map up to these courses that are available on the platform and do it. So in fact, we had an event with the Cybersecurity Center of Excellence in Karnataka. It's housed in Bangalore, housed at IISc. So there was an event that we did where we said that people can take up a particular course. It was AppSec vulnerability course. which we said there's no entry barrier, anybody and everybody can take it. In fact, this was rolled out to about 18 districts in Karnataka. So you name it, it was like all kinds of districts. Of course, we had Bangalore urban, but there were a lot of rural participation that was there. And I'm sure they would have just managed it with their phone for the internet connectivity that they've had. So this way, people can get access to the latest, and if there are many courses which are free today on the Prime platform. Most of them are free, but later on we will still have paid courses. But there is a big possibility for the learners to get the latest content, and it's just not theory. They will have a hands-on session, the hands-on portion also as part of their learning. That is what the Ministry of Electronics, IT and NASSCOM have together put in place, which is the Prime platform. We have quite registered onto the Prime platform. So hopefully they will be able to give the latest technology to their students.
Thanks, Priya. Thanks for that initiative. So since Priya, you asked like how many of them in the audience are from AI or ML, we are just launching a poll so that people can answer if they are working on AI or ML. I'm just launching the poll, so you have an answer options as yes or no. Please select it according to your working environment, and you can submit it so that it will be easy for us to collect the information and answer Priya's question. As per the response, Priya, it looks like we have 11% stating yes, and most of them, the majority is stating as no.
Interesting. So about 4 people are using AI/ML, which is nice, which is very nice to know.
So I'll just close this. Audience, any questions? You can just put it forward. If you have anything else which has to be reached to Priya, please leave us a message either on Slack on a community channel, or you can send us an email as well. So thank you, Priya, for such a comprehensive look at the skills scenario of the IT landscape. It was actually an alarming to note that 80% of the engineers are unemployable, but this is also an opportunity to acquire digital fluency and stay relevant in the present IT scenario. I like the crisp way of showing the impact of digital transformation on testing. And lastly, thank you for introducing FutureSkills Prime to all of us. I'm sure there are a couple of audience who are looking for something like this. So I hope, audience, you will take advantage of these courses. Yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Shruti and Trijan, for giving this opportunity. I hope the audience had some takeaway from this session. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Priya. Thank you, audience.